about anatomy, with back pain, it could have a lot to do with not just your back muscles, but your abdominals and your trapezius muscle. A lot of things go into, because there's a lot of pulleys within the human body. Am I right?
Yes, and I have to say, since you mentioned abdominals, because that's everybody's sort of go-to move, and a lot of physical therapy, when people are when they're treating different pathologies and orthopedic conditions, core is a word that's thrown around, and people do think abdominals, and that's sort of your go-to thing. But one of the things I love to tell everybody, is that if you think about just abdominals being this right here, the rectus abdominis, I had a teacher who called it the minute steak. It's very thin, and all it does is do this.
Right.
So imagine what that looks like done over time. It's not really the go-to move to fix anybody, right? The idea is that and they're called transverse abdominis. There's my big words for you. To me, I call it
the take-home word today is transverse
abdominis. It's more like a bulletproof vest. It's like a corset. It is. It's an anatomical corset that goes all around you and it holds you up. But even still, those are sort of go-to catchphrases in Pilates and in core training. And I really think that as important as they are, you have to look at the whole. I deal with the spine and the pelvis primarily.
Right.
Because most people don't understand there's, it's 24 bones, 22 discs, and they're sitting in the cradle of the pelvis. If those things aren't in the right spot at the right time, your fingernails are affected because your hair follicles are attached to your spine. Inevitably, everything goes back to your spine. So yes, those abdominals that you talk about, they're important, but they're only a small piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
And so when you start to look at the whole person, then you don't have to concentrate on spot welding here or here. It's really easy to tell somebody, for example, if you seriously walk around like you have a book on your head all day long and you're trying to balance it, you're working muscles.
Yes.
Because you're resistance training against gravity. Right? Gravity's doing this, and anytime I do like this, I have muscles that are pulling my spine apart to hold me up. So as silly as it sounds, it's actually worth doing because nobody knows you're doing it. It doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
And it kind of looks, like very, like very cool, very royal of me.
Right.
But it's those some kind of things. I try to give behaviors that people can do all day. Pilates isn't something I go to do every day. It's something that I do all day long every day. Especially like for people that are working. For example, Pilates to me is if you know you have to be sitting in a chair all day, come sit on the edge. Make your pelvis stack up this way. Right. As opposed to being here. We sit on L3 and L4 all day long sometimes, some people, depending on driving, depending on fitness. They were telling us for years, and I was an offender of it, sink into your low back. Remember, you've heard this in a class. Press that low back into the floor. Preserve those curves in your back. Girl. That's what I tell everybody now. Muscle up around those natural curves in your back. You can picture what they look like. Right. And I tell everybody, a Pilates posture exercise is, imagine if you were being photographed all day in profile. And these days, everybody is photographed all the time. I mean, we're always taking pictures and being taken pictures of, right? So I say to everybody, run it through your common sense filter. If you were being photographed in profile, how would you want it to look? And it's amazing. Those are muscles. I'm using muscles that a lot of times I'm not using if I'm not considering it. And so just something as simple as that. There was a great thing I learned from listening to the closure of Downton Abbey. They had hired a barrister because all of the actors had to learn how to posture themselves because it's a very time-specific, behavioral-specific. They had to bring the cups to their face. Right. They have to bring the food to their mouth. And for us especially, one of the things I loved is, does the back of your neck touch your collar? So as you walk around all day and you're trying to think, how can I do my Pilates? How can I fix my back? Seek out the collar with the back of your neck.
That's a great point.
It's amazing.
I mean, we don't even have to be in a class to be doing something like that.
I was telling everybody, listen, it doesn't have to cost you any money. You don't need any equipment. You don't have to go anywhere to do it. Once you understand what these structures are supposed to look like and how they're supposed to hold you up, you don't need anybody to teach you anymore. You'll do it all the time. Right. And thank God, because I spend a lot of time just running my mouth all day. I don't always have time to stop and do, but I'm always doing it.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, you have to make it almost like a habit. And
well, there's the neural component. You talk about mind.
Yes, right.
So when you talk about making a habit, people are back there going, "Oh my God, I
Another
gotta
habit.
do one more thing. I can't stick to anything. How long is this going to take me?" So when people come to see me, that's what I tell them they're paying me for, right? You're paying me so that I'm going to become that earworm in your brain.
Right.
I'm going to infect your head, so every time you're at a red light, you're going to seek out the back of your headrest, the headrest on your car with the back of your head behind your nose, not your eyeballs, right? So instead of being here, you ever look at the girl driving beside you,
Right.
I call it the toilet sit, right? But every once in a while, if you think of my voice
sit.
in your head,
Yes.
the back of your head behind your nose. And it won't last but a few seconds, Shelley.
Right.
But if I happen to think about it during 5 red lights, that's 30 seconds of Pilates I did today. And incrementally, you'll start doing those things longer and longer if I can sort of give you something that feels doable. I think that's why people like me.
Doable, but also feels good, because
Yes.
we are more likely not to think of something as a habit, but to think of it something as, necessary for our health. If it feels good, we're going to do more of it.